The doctor's words landed like a final verdict. "I'm sorry," he said gently, folding his hands. "You'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life." Maya stared at the white wall, listening as if from underwater. 26. Dancer once. Dreamer always. In a single sentence, her future had been boxed into 4 wheels and a narrow doorway. Outside the hospital room, rain tapped the window like it was trying to say something kinder. That's when she noticed him, Ethan, awkwardly balancing a coffee cup and a crumpled permission slip, his 8-year-old son tugging at his sleeve. Ethan had come for a routine checkup. He stayed because he heard Maya crying. They spoke first about small things. The weather. The vending machine that stole coins. Then Maya broke. "They say I'll never walk again," she whispered, embarrassed by the tears she couldn't stop. Ethan didn't rush to fix it. He listened. Truly listened. His son, Leo, offered her a sticker shaped like a star. Over the next weeks, Ethan kept showing up, sometimes with soup, sometimes with silence. Maya learned he was a single dad, working nights, tired in a way that lived behind the eyes. Still, he showed up. When she apologized for being a burden, Ethan shook his head. One evening, as a therapist wheeled her back after a brutal session, Maya confessed her fear. "I don't know how to live like this." Ethan knelt so their eyes met. His voice was steady, soft, and certain. "Then we'll learn together," he said. "And on the days it's too hard, I'll be your legs." For the first time since the diagnosis, Maya felt something unfamiliar stir, hope, fragile but real, like the rain outside had finally decided to stop. Rehabilitation was nothing like the inspirational videos Maya had once watched late at night. It was exhausting, repetitive, and humiliating in ways no one warned you about. Learning how to transfer from bed to chair. Learning how to ask for help without feeling small. Learning how to smile when strangers spoke to her in pity-soft voices. Ethan became a quiet constant. He showed up after his night shifts, eyes rimmed red with exhaustion, carrying takeout containers and bad jokes. Sometimes Leo came too, doing homework in the corner, pretending not to notice when Maya struggled. One afternoon Maya snapped. After failing to complete a simple exercise, she shoved the parallel bars away. "This is pointless," she cried. "Everyone keeps telling me I'm strong, but strong doesn't make me walk." The room fell silent. The therapist stepped out. Ethan didn't argue. He sat beside her wheelchair and let the words spill until there were none left. "You know," he said slowly, "when my wife passed, people told me I had to be strong for Leo. I hated that word. Strength felt like pretending I wasn't breaking." He glanced at his son, then back at Maya. "Turns out strength is just showing up again the next day." Maya looked at her hands, hands that once floated through the air in dance, now gripping cold metal rims. "What if I never get used to this?" Ethan smiled, not brightly, but honestly. "Then we won't rush it." He started helping in small ways. He learned how to adjust her chair. He practiced ramps and doorways like they were obstacle courses. Once, when an elevator broke, he carried her chair down 3 flights, breathless but grinning. "Told you," he joked. "Temporary legs." But the real shift came quietly. Maya noticed she laughed more. That the room felt lighter when Ethan and Leo were there. That for the first time, her future didn't look empty, just different. And somewhere between physical therapy appointments and shared dinners, Maya realized something startling. She was. The first real test came on a crowded Saturday afternoon. Maya hadn't been out alone since the accident. The city felt louder now, faster, less forgiving. Curbs looked taller. Doors heavier. Eyes lingered too long. Ethan insisted they go anyway, to the park near the river, where Leo loved to race his bike and feed the ducks. At first, everything went wrong. A cafe had no ramp. A stranger tried to push Maya's wheelchair without asking. When a child stared openly, Maya felt that familiar knot tighten in her chest. "I want to go home," she whispered, fighting tears. Ethan stopped the chair gently. He didn't say, "It'll be okay." He didn't say, Ignore them. Instead, he crouched beside her and asked, "What do you want to do right now?" No one had asked her that in months. "I want to try," she said quietly. The words surprised even her. So they did. Slowly. Awkwardly. Leo became their enthusiastic scout, shouting, "This path is smooth!" Or, "That ramp actually works!" Ethan followed Maya's lead, letting her decide when to stop, when to move, when to breathe. By the river, Maya watched the water move, constant, unstoppable, changing shape but never stopping. Something clicked. Maybe life wasn't about returning to who she used to be. Maybe it was about becoming someone new. Then Ethan did something unexpected. He took off his jacket, folded it carefully, and placed it on her lap as the wind picked up. It was such a small gesture, but it broke her. "You don't treat me like I'm broken," she said softly. Ethan looked at her, surprised. "That's because you're not." That night, back at her apartment, Maya wheeled herself to the mirror. She still saw the chair. She still felt the loss. But beneath it, she saw something else too: resilience, dignity, and a future that wasn't defined by what she couldn't do. For the first time, Maya slept without dreaming of the life she lost. She dreamed of the life she was building. Winter arrived quietly, wrapping the city in gray skies and early darkness. For Maya, the cold made everything harder: stiff mornings, slower movements, longer nights filled with thoughts she couldn't silence. Independence was empowering, but it was also lonely. Ethan noticed before she said anything. One evening, he showed up with Leo and a box of mismatched holiday lights. "We're borrowing your living room," he announced. "Temporary construction zone." Leo cheered like it was the best idea ever. As they hung the lights low enough for Maya to reach, laughter filled the apartment. It felt normal. Almost like family. Maya caught herself watching Ethan when he wasn't looking, the way he listened fully, the way he never rushed her, the way he let her be strong and tired. But fear lingered. One night, after Leo had fallen asleep on the couch, Maya finally asked the question she'd been holding back. "Why do you do all this?" Ethan didn't answer right away. He stared at the soft glow of the lights. "Because when my wife died," he said quietly, "I thought my life was over. Then I realized my job wasn't to fix the pain. It was to carry it, and still choose kindness." Maya's voice shook. "What if one day you'd get tired of carrying me?" That's when the emotional wall cracked. Ethan moved closer, careful not to crowd her. "I'm not carrying you, Maya. You're carrying yourself. I just walk beside you, or roll sometimes." Tears slipped down her cheeks, but this time they weren't from despair. They were from relief. Weeks later, during a routine follow-up, a new doctor reviewed her scans. "Your condition is stable," he said. "No change." Maya nodded. She wasn't crushed like before. Because something had changed. She had built a life filled with support, purpose, and love. She had learned that healing didn't always mean standing up again. Sometimes, healing meant learning how to move forward, exactly as you are. And she wasn't moving forward alone anymore. Spring returned the way hope often does, quietly, without announcement. Maya noticed it first in the mornings, when sunlight spilled across her floor and the cold loosened its grip. Life had found a rhythm. She taught online dance theory classes now, using words instead of steps, guiding students to feel movement even when they couldn't perform it. Purpose had returned, shaped differently but just as powerful. Ethan and Leo were woven into her days in small, permanent ways. Shared dinners. Homework at her table. Long conversations after Leo fell asleep, when the world felt honest. One afternoon, during a follow-up appointment, Maya's doctor paused longer than usual over her chart. "You've made remarkable progress," he said. "Not walking, but adapting. Mentally, emotionally. That matters more than people realize." Maya smiled. She already knew. That evening, by the river where everything had once shifted, Ethan pushed her chair to their favorite spot. The water moved steadily, just as it always had. I used to think my life ended in that hospital room, Maya said softly. When they told me I'd never walk again. Ethan rested his hands on the chair. And now? Now I know it just changed direction. He hesitated, then reached into his pocket and pulled out something simple, a small key on a ribbon. It's not a ring, he said quickly. It's a spare key. To our place. No pressure. Maya laughed through tears. You know, she said. You once told me you'd be my legs. Ethan shook his head. I was wrong. She turned to him, confused. You found your own way forward, he continued. I just made sure the path was a little smoother. Maya looked at the river, at the sky, at the life she never planned but deeply loved. The chair was still there. The challenges were still real. But so was the joy. And in a world that once told her everything she'd lost, Maya had discovered something greater. She was never meant to walk alone.